Right, how hard is it to paddle around South Africa? Well, a lot harder than I thought when I started. I'll give you an overview of my first attempt. Day 1, we leave Mozambique. Don't worry about passport stamps or anything. Day 3, I'm off Sodwana, 3 kilometers out to sea, having a wonderful time. I'm hit by a shark from behind. I roll off the back of my ski into the water. I eventually get back onto my boat and realize I'm sinking, and I've got 3 k's to get back to the shore. I do, I'm here today. I get a new ski that afternoon. That evening, a new ski arrives. The following day at 5 o'clock, I'm on the water, paddling again. Day 5, big surf, I snap the ski in half. I have to borrow another ski. Day 7, more big surf, I injure my lower back. I spend 5 days having treatment. Day 10, we eventually make it down to the south coast of Durban, only to realize that we've been robbed. Everything was gone. So game over, go home, start again. 10 months later, I replace all the equipment. I change a few things. I go the other way around on my trip. I also paint a black stripe down the bottom of my ski. Now sharks can see shapes very well, so I'm hoping that this will break up the white belly looking bottom of my ski. To date, it's worked well. So take 2, along with my amazing sponsors, Land Rover and Engen, who stuck with me through both of them. I had Spar, Alucab and Fen come on board. I changed my ski from a thin, tippy racing ski to a more stable, sensible ski for the trip. And the interesting thing about it is I paddled 3,300 kilometers. The Land Rover did 14,000 kilometers. The West Coast, as you can see, pretty inhospitable, freezing cold waters. We paddled days without seeing the coast. I just happened to keep my ear open for the shore on my left, and when my GPS said time to turn in, I'd turn in. We went 5 days without seeing a single soul on the West Coast. Paddling's not only challenging, my second in the vehicle also had a challenging time to navigate to find me at the end of each day. And one trip on the Wild Coast, I traveled 45 kilometers. He had to drive 200 kilometers and took him 6 hours to find me at the end of that day. We camped most of the time, but as we arrived towards Port Elizabeth, the word had spread through the paddling community, and from then on, we never touched tents again. I don't know what people did before Google Earth. It's an amazing tool to find out where you're going, what it looks like before you get there. But in this picture, sometimes when the wind picks up and you've got to make an emergency exit, I came in over these rocks at high tide. I didn't know the rocks were there. The next morning, leaving, I'm in this predicament of trying to get up between the rocks with a very fragile fiberglass surf ski. Coming into the Knysna Heads, often I had people who had come out and join me and paddle, people I've never met before. Sometimes it irritates my rhythm. I'm happy space, they come. But most times it actually was quite enjoyable. I'm also a bit of a gear freak. I love my stuff. So this is all the kit I had on me on the boat. I had 2 cell phones, one from each major networks. I had a VHF radio, I had a personal locating beacon, I had 2 GPS units, MP3 player, flares, signal mirrors. I had 2 tracking units, one a satellite one, every 20 minutes would put me in a place, and a cell phone one every 5 minutes, so everyone could follow me on the internet. My best thing was a GoPro and a little pole, which gave me all these footages. This pic was of the sunrise on my right-hand side, which I knew I'd actually turned the corner and I was heading up north again. This picture was taken off the Wild Coast, one of the nicest parts, happy days. I'm really pleased we are here. I always thought the Wild Coast was going to be hectic, and it was pretty much an unfounded thought. It ended up being the 8 best days of my trip. This video clip is of me stopping on the Wild Coast after quite a tough day and thinking, hey, you guys want to see this. Who's seen it from this angle? Hole in the wall, not very many of you. The highlight of my paddling trip, I think, was crossing False Bay. I paddled across a pod of orcas. Now, obviously, having all the shark stuff, I was pretty nervous about these big creatures. And only afterwards I realized that there's never been an attack on a human in the wild. So my fears were pretty much unfounded. What is a typical day like? We'd wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'd have a cup of coffee and a rusk, we'd get changed, pack the Land Rover, and go to where we stopped the night before. If we're camping, it was simple, roll out the tent, roll onto the beach, and off we'd go. I'd launch before 5 o'clock in the morning, try get before sunrise. And the reason for this was I was going against the prevailing winds and currents. So in the morning was the best time for the calm conditions. I would do about 40 to 50 Ks a day, and finish paddling, 2 o'clock, have lunch, find accommodation, find somewhere to stay, pitch tent, 6 o'clock, have something to eat, 8 o'clock in bed, and we just repeat it day after day after day. I paddled 2 out of 3 days for the whole 4 months. The best thing to me that I came out of this trip, not the money I raised for the children, not my personal experience, but the people you meet. The amazing generosity that people give you. We had holiday houses. Here's the keys. This is where you fetch it. It's under the mat. Go for it. Never met the people, still haven't met them. Interesting statistics. Everyone liked stats. 15 kilometers was the furthest I was offshore. And that was crossing from St. Francis Bay to Port Elizabeth, going past Jeffreys Bay on Christmas morning. It's quite an experience. Something I didn't expect from this trip was the release of stress. I had these childhood memories that came back to me. They were long forgotten. I'd forgotten traffic. I'd forgotten politics. So when I got back from my trip, went to my boss, I gave him a letter. Said, I'm gone. Anyway, this is something that what grows on your face when you get home. Unfortunately, it's got to come off. Thank you very much.